Bill Cosby back at home after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out his conviction. Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick joining us now to explain how this all happened. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, Shelley.
This news came down yesterday, and I could hear almost a gasp everywhere. This was a bit shocking, no?
It was because we didn't see it coming, but it maybe wasn't when you read the court's opinion very carefully as I did, because this was not a commentary on the strength of the evidence. That is important because we understand that many victims around the world are shocked, they're dismayed, they're upset, and understandably so on all counts. But this was a procedural decision by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Basically, Shelley, what they said is not that there wasn't enough evidence to support the convictions, but that the prosecution should not have gone forward to begin with. And they based that decision on an agreement made years ago that Mr. Cosby would not be prosecuted in exchange for his testimony in a civil deposition, where, of course, there is no Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination. So he made incriminating statements because he had no right not to speak. So he chose to, and then those were used against him. So Shelley, that was the basis for I don't even want to say a reversal. It was basically an overturning of the conviction.
So if he wasn't supposed to be charged for this case, how did we go down this path over the past few years?
Shelley, you ask all the right questions because you're right. The path has been one indeed. You and I have followed it on the show. It wasn't just one trial, but two. Remember, the first trial was a mistrial. They couldn't reach a unanimous verdict. Both trials being very different. Of course, the most recent one, there was Andrea Constant as the victim plus 5 prior accusers. That was a conviction. And then what's been going on since then? Well, simply because Cosby's been out of the headlines doesn't mean that his lawyers haven't been very busy behind the scenes making appeals, and there's been an interim court that's heard this. Shelley, he was denied parole as recently as last month. So there's lots been going on in terms of seeking some sort of a remedy by his lawyers. When the Pennsylvania Supreme Court agreed to hear this case, his lawyers and Mr. Cosby saw it as a victory, and I guess in retrospect, justifiably so, because, America's dad, the famous octogenarian I grew up with as the Jell-O pudding spokesman, I can't believe it's been that long, is now a free man. But Shelley, that doesn't mean that he can't be sued civilly, and according to some of the victims' accusers, according to some of the victims' lawyers, Gloria Allred last night, that is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and we're hearing from some of the victims, the accusers this morning, saying that they're just shocked.
We're hearing that, and our hearts go out to them and their families. Our prayers are with them as they struggle to process this information. But one of the things that the lawyer that prosecuted Mr. Cosby several years ago, he made a public statement yesterday and said that he really hopes, and we share this, that this doesn't dissuade sexual assault victims everywhere, regardless of who the perpetrator is, regardless of how famous the perpetrator is, from coming forward and sharing what's happened to them. So we really hope that we don't see anyone dissuaded. This was a procedural overturning of the conviction, not based on the merits.
It takes a moment to be able to understand from what we heard yesterday, what the court's decision is. They're not saying that he didn't not do anything wrong. They're just talking about that whether this should have even been tried or not, right?
Yes, and that is such an important distinction because you and I have both heard media outlets report people commenting on the reversal saying, I can't believe that these women weren't believed. There was nothing about the court's decision that commented one way or another on the integrity of the testimony that was presented during the trial. And that's very important. I would invite anybody to actually read the court's opinion in deciding why and analyzing why they did what they did. They were very careful in looking at the past promise not to prosecute, and they looked at all the context, and words matter. They took all of that into consideration because that's what was argued. Shelley, that's been argued before. Because remember, that's the reason we had the incriminating statements given in the civil case, because there was no protection given by the Fifth Amendment to not incriminate somebody that's not up for criminal charges. So that's one of the things that I suppose really makes this different. You and I haven't discussed a case like this. It's very unusual to be in the position we are, where a court basically overturned a conviction saying not that there was any irregularity during the trial, but that there shouldn't have been a trial to begin with.
Okay, we saw video yesterday of Bill Cosby at home, very frail. What happens now? What are the next steps?
Well, the next steps for Mr. Cosby may be facing civil litigation. That is one of the things that the lawyers have said on that are representing the victims is this does not necessarily mean Mr. Cosby's never going to see the inside of a courtroom, but it won't be a criminal courtroom. And the court was very clear to say that this would bar further criminal prosecution. But Shelley, remember O.J. Simpson? So there was a successful civil suit against him after he was acquitted. That wasn't even overturning a conviction. After he was acquitted. So Bill Cosby may be 83 years old, but he may not be out of the woods. I saw him celebrating on TV last night, but that may not necessarily mean there's not more trouble for him again in a civil courtroom.
Be interesting to see what's going to happen over the next few months. Wendy Patrick, always good talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley.